Welcome to Kindness of World Channel. The old wooden sign above Rusty's Roadhouse creaked under the steady push of the prairie wind. Inside, neon lights buzzed, jukebox rock filled the smoky air, and the faint smell of fried onions lingered beneath the stronger scents of beer and leather. Friday nights always brought a rowdy crowd. Locals drank alongside truckers and bikers passing through the interstate. At the center of it all was Ellie, the young waitress everyone loved. She had been working there for just under a year, always with a ready smile, quick service, and a voice that could turn harsh tempers soft. But Ellie carried secrets no one had dared to ask about. She never spoke much about her past, never drank on the job, and wore long-sleeved shirts even on the hottest days. That night, the hum of conversation spiked when the Iron Vulture's biker gang rumbled into the parking lot. Their reputation wasn't pretty, known for bar fights, debts collected with fists, and the kind of swagger that turned stomachs. The biggest of them all, a brute everyone called Brick, pushed through the swinging door first. His arms were the size of tree trunks, tattoos coiled around them like barbed wire. Rusty, the bar owner, tensed at the counter. He'd dealt with gangs before, but he always hoped trouble would pass. Ellie, balancing a tray of beers, gave him a small nod as if to say, "I've got this." Brick and his crew settled in. The place grew quieter, the jukebox tune awkwardly loud now. Ellie approached with her practiced smile. "Evening, fellas. What can I get you started with?" Brick leaned back, his chair groaning under his weight. He gave Ellie a slow look up and down, grinning. "Sweetheart, we'll take a round of your coldest, and maybe a smile to go with it." She didn't flinch. Coming right up, the beers were poured, delivered, and soon the gang's laughter mixed with the music. But Brick's attention didn't leave Ellie. Every time she walked by, his eyes followed. When she bent to pick up empties, his crew whistled. The regulars looked away, uncomfortable but unwilling to interfere. Rusty clenched his jaw behind the bar. Hours passed, the bikers drinking heavier, voices louder. The clock neared midnight when Brick finally acted. As Ellie leaned across the table to gather bottles, he reached out, hooked two fingers into the collar of her shirt, and yanked. The sound of fabric tearing split the air. Gasps shot across the room. Ellie froze, her tray clattering to the floor, beers shattering. Her shirt hung ripped open, exposing her shoulder and part of her chest. But what everyone saw wasn't what Brick had expected. There, inked across her pale skin, was a tattoo, a black eagle with wings spread wide, clutching a lightning bolt. Beneath it, numbers and letters MP 241. The bar went silent. A few men stood abruptly, eyes wide. Rusty's face drained of color. Brick blinked, confused. "What the hell's this? Some bird?" An older trucker at the counter whispered, "That's no bird. That's the mark of the 241st Military Police Battalion. Afghanistan Tours. Special Ops Detail." Ellie's breath shook as she pulled the torn fabric closed, but her eyes locked on Brick's. No longer meek, no longer just the smiling waitress of the steel in her gaze cut through the smoky room. "You made a mistake," she said quietly. The entire gang laughed uneasily, trying to brush it off, but the rest of the bar didn't, because suddenly, everything about Ellie began to make sense. The posture too straight for a waitress, the scars occasionally glimpsed when her sleeves slipped, the way she always scanned the room like she was mapping exits. Rusty stepped out from behind the counter, voice low. "Ellie, a broken bar you never told us." "I didn't want to," she muttered. Her hands trembled, and not from fear, but from something deeper, something darker. Brick shoved his chair back and stood, looming. "So what? You played soldier. You think some tattoo's gonna scare me?" But the others in the bar weren't so sure. A middle-aged woman near the jukebox muttered, "I had a boy in that unit. They were the ones sent into ambush zones. Half didn't come back." Ellie slowly straightened. "Not half," she corrected. "3/4. The words dropped like stones. Brick smirked, trying to reclaim the room. He grabbed Ellie's arm roughly. "Listen here, soldier girl, you don't tell me whatta." In a blur, Ellie twisted, yanking her wrist free, stepping aside, and slamming her elbow into his ribs. The giant man staggered. No one had ever seen someone move so fast, so precise. Before Brick could recover, she swept his leg and dropped him to the sticky floor with a crash that shook glasses on the shelves. The bar erupted in shouts. Brick's crew half rose, but froze when Ellie planted her boot firmly on Brick's chest. She wasn't breathing hard, wasn't even flustered. "I said," her voice cut like a blade, "you made a mistake." The bikers exchanged uncertain looks. Their leader, the untouchable brute, was on his back under a waitress's heel. Around them, regulars who had once looked away now leaned forward, eyes alight with something between awe and relief. Rusty broke the silence. "Get out." His voice cracked at first, then grew firmer. "All of you, out of my bar." One of the bikers muttered, "We don't take orders." But another hissed, "Shut up, man, you saw what she did. You want the next?" Brick groaned beneath Ellie's weight, but she finally stepped back, letting him scramble up. Red-faced and humiliated, he shoved past his crew toward the door, muttering curses. The rest followed quickly, leaving their beers untouched. When the engines roared outside and faded into the distance, silence remained. Everyone turned to Ellie. Her torn shirt barely clung to her, but her eyes, hard, distant, yet glistening, held a room. She looked around, at the people she'd served for months, the ones who never really knew her. "I didn't want anyone to find out," she whispered. "This was supposed to be Broken Bar, a quiet life, a second chance." Rusty stepped forward, laying a hand on her shoulder gently. "You don't have to hide here, Ellie." "Not from us." For the first time all night, her tough Section 8 cracked. She blinked hard, fighting tears. "You don't understand. That tattoo, a broken bar, it's not just a memory, it's a promise. I swore I'd protect people, no matter where I was, but I couldn't protect them all." The bar stayed hushed. Then the older trucker, the one who'd recognized the tattoo, stood. His eyes were wet. "My so broken bar, he was with 241. He never came back. Thank you for being there, for trying." Ellie's breath caught. She had no words. The man simply raised his glass. "To the ones who did." Slowly, the rest of the bar followed, glasses lifting high. "To the ones who did." The echo of clinking glass filled the room, heavy with respect. Ellie lowered her head, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she felt seen, and not for the battles she'd lost, but for the courage she'd carried. Rusty fetched his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "Your family here, Ellie. Shirt or no shirt, secret or no secret, anyone who forgets that answers to me." The crowd murmured agreement. Ellie smiled weakly, pulling the jacket tight. For months she'd been a ghost of herself, serving drinks and pretending the world had left her alone. Tonight, in the unlikeliest of ways, her truth had come out, and instead of rejection, she found belonging. Outside, the prairie wind howled. Inside Rusty's roadhouse, warmth spread through more than just whiskey and beer. Something deeper had rooted itself: respect, solidarity, and a reminder that heroes often hid in plain sight. And as Ellie finally allowed herself to sit, exhausted but lighter, the jukebox flickered to life again, playing a soft country ballad that carried across the quiet bar. The night had begun with fear, it ended with faith.